All right, looks like we are live now. So, welcome everyone to the Disc Golf Answer Man Show. We are setting things up, getting things prepped. We have Paige Shue on the road joining
Hello.
us. Little on the road Paige wave there. How are you doing today, Paige?
I am doing awesome. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. So yeah, we'll get people some time to get on board. But how are you dealing with all the coronavirus stuff and staying home and stuff like that?
It's been pretty awesome. I worked at the retail store for a little bit when everything first got canceled, but I stopped working there about 3 weeks ago. Then I took a 2-week vacation, and now Brady and I are just focused on practicing. So the next until the tour starts, I guess, which is probably going to be about a month, all we're doing is just practicing, and we're really excited to start focusing, buckling down, and starting to compete again.
Yeah. What's the first event that you know for sure? Is there any of them that you know for sure that you're ready to go?
Not that I can announce if I'm
Oh, okay.
correct. We have a Pro Tour players page where a lot of the touring pros are on a Facebook page, and the CEO Jeff Spring kind of keeps us up to date on stuff. So he tries to tell us what he can. But they're supposed to be making some announcements sometime this coming week or June 1st maybe. But it's looking like probably the end of June is when things are going to start. So
Probably a lot of uncertainty going on that it's hard to want to put something out there and then all of a sudden something changed. So I can understand that.
I know I can't imagine how they're even planning everything with half the states being good to go, half of them not.
I know.
I'm sure they got a lot on their plate, and we appreciate everything they're doing. So
Cool. All right, we're going to give Robert should be hopping on anytime now, and he will join us so that we can get started with the show. Let's see. I want to do a quick check-in with YouTube, see how everybody's doing out there in YouTube land.
all right.
Tell me in the chats, YouTube, how are we sounding? Are we sounding good? Everybody doing good? Did you have a good Memorial weekend? Were you here in Kansas, or you were still in?
We were here yesterday.
Okay.
Well, when did we get back? I think we got back last Friday. And then the past weekend, we just kind of unpacked, saw my family. It was raining all day yesterday, so we just had a nice do nothing day. We stayed inside, watched TV, watched some disc golf, keeping ourselves busy.
Gotcha. Let's see. All right, we'll have Robert coming in the room. We'll say hi to Robert. Hello, Robert. How are you?
Yes, hello.
Yes, this
Hi,
is a
Robert.
show. This is a live show, Robert.
Wait,
Welcome.
Are we live?
Yes.
Dang it. Hey, Paige, what's up?
Hi.
You freaking driving?
Yes, I'm multitasking.
You're so on.
Yeah, I'm on the road. We're leaving Kansas City. We had to run some errands and take care of a few things, so we're supposed to be back in Emporia here in like 30-ish minutes.
Oh, cool. Sounds good.
All right, so it looks like the chat, it says we're looking and sounds great, doing good, sounding good. Let's see. Yeah, so everybody joining us, which is really cool. All right, so we're going to bring up the questions so we can get the show started and get going. All right, everybody ready?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, everybody, welcome to this episode of the Disc Golf Answer Man. I am Bobby Cool Daddy Slick Breeze, and we are still doing this remotely. So we have the Zoom call going. So the sound a little bit different than you're used to. And we actually have a special guest, Miss Paige Shue. Well, no, I'm sorry, Mrs. Now. I can't say Miss. Mrs. Paige Shue. She is on the road, but she called in so she can help answer our disc golf questions. So real quick, a check in with Paige. How are you doing, Paige?
I am doing awesome. Really excited for the season to hopefully start soon and start competing again.
I bet you are. Have you been able to get out at all and do some throwing? Now, I know from your Instagram that you've done some throwing while you've been, the lockdown's been taking place.
Yeah, a lot of casual, just a lot of Hammond, short 9-hole course. A couple of times we played Jones East, Jones West. Nothing super serious. Just kind of trying to keep it fun and relaxed before we have to start hitting it hard again.
Yeah. Now, if you watch us on YouTube, you'll know that she did a tic-tac-toe challenge with Eric McCabe. What was that like trying to do that accurate shots with the tic-tac-toe game? Uh-oh, I think we may have lost her.
I'll answer for her. It's hard.
Okay. It's hard.
Yeah. I haven't
All right.
played it, but I would like to at some point. I think it'd be fun, but you feel like your upshots are accurate until you have to do it on camera to like these little squares. I mean, it's tricky.
I know it's tricky. I know that they did it, and then Anthony and Danny did it as well a few weeks back. Uh-oh.
Oh, there you go,
Back.
Paige.
There
Hello.
she is. She's back.
Okay, I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Yes, the tic-tac-toe, I got my butt kicked, but it was really fun.
It was really fun, huh? Very cool.
Yes.
Very cool. All right. Well, we won't waste a whole lot of time. We'll get in there so we can get some questions, get you to answer some questions. Guys, as always, go to discgolfanswerman.com, submit your disc golf questions, and we will get them on the air. This first one comes from Shay Stevens. He says, hello, Disc Golf Answer crew. My question today is about damaged discs. Is there a personal point for you when a disc becomes so damaged you stop using it, even if it's still PDGA legal? I've been revisiting some old discs I used to throw years ago on a very rocky course, and they have some significant damage to the rims, with some even having chunks missing. Would you still throw that disc? What is your point of no when you retire them? What do you think, Paige? When is it time to retire a disc? How damaged does it have to be?
Right? That's interesting. I guess once a disc doesn't do what I originally wanted it for, so like if I have an overstable disc but it starts to get flippy, I try to at least incorporate it into my bag in a different way, kind of. So if it does start getting flippy, I'll try to use it for hyzer flips or maybe big anties, just because I've thrown that disc so much and I've learned how it flies. I guess I don't really get rid of them until I lose them. I've never really had a disc get so understable that it's not useful for me. So either I lose them or still try to use them, I guess.
I feel that. I most of the time I'm like that. If I start off with a disc, like I want it to be overstable. If it's one that I cycle like Raiders or something, once an overstable Raider gets straight, no problem. Now I have a new straight Raider. That's cool. If it gets a little understable, no problem. And now I have a big bomber. That's great. But if it's just like a one-off disc and then now it's too understable for what I want, I mean, it's just, you just got to rotate it out. Or oh man, one of my ace discs a long time ago got a thorn through the rim.
Dang.
And like, so I could trim it out and it was still legal, but it just didn't, it didn't do anything like it did before. So I was sad.
It does sound like a sad day.
Was. I threw it on like every approach, always. It carried me to like my first tournament win. Then it died.
It died.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Did you have the
Yeah.
RSVP? Or not RSVP, but RIP.
Miss you, Pop.
Yeah. All right, next one comes from Dean. I was playing with a friend at a course which had baskets removed, but there was still a small pipe sticking up about an inch where the basket had been. We just stood over the spot when it was time to putt and took the place of the basket.
We've read this one.
Oh, right.
Is the end of it an ace question?
Yes.
Yeah, we've read it.
Oh, okay. My bad. All right. Moving on. This one is from John G. Run-up timing. When I first started throwing 2 summers ago, I would run up and throw, but would miss my lines consistently or throw nose up or down. I decided to just stand on the edge of the pad and throw to correct my form. I've got to where I can hit my lines most of the time. I can also throw 280 to 330 standstill. I need to work on my run-up, but can't seem to get my timing right. What would you suggest? I also seem to drag my back foot. What do you guys think?
Okay, so he's good with standstills. I mean, I think just the footwork, is very important. The more footwork you get involved, the further you're going to throw, obviously. So I think he should just keep trying. Maybe start with like one step, slowly maybe do like a crow's hop or something if you're not quite comfortable with the X step. Just kind of slowly start working on it. I was the same way. I did standstills for a really long time because I was kind of scared to do a run up. But my dad was like, Paige, you got to do one at some point. Like, it's only going to make you better. So it's just buckling down, and you're going to shank and you're going to suck, but that's all part of the process of growing. Whether you're adding an X step or trying a sidearm or anything, like, you're going to have to fail first to succeed.
Yeah, I think the one step is a great way to get into the timing of the end of the throw. I think that's one of the best ways to learn is just feet together, one step throw. That kind of gets your arm moving back at the right time so that it times well with your foot hitting the ground. So I dig it.
Excellent. Next one comes from Rock. I've heard several pros describe a disc as being good or bad for forehand shots. Can you please help me to understand what makes a disc good or bad for forehands? And please include trilogy examples that are appropriate for amateurs. So how do you know, Paige, how do you know when a disc is good or bad for forehand shots?
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm not a big forehand player, as a lot of people know, so I don't know if I'd be the best person to answer this question. But for me, as someone who's still trying to develop my forehand, still something I'm working on, I really like flippy stuff, and I like stuff that's flat. And I think a lot of people who do throw forehands like flatter discs, just because of the grip of a forehand. You know, the way you grip it at the end, just having a flat top just makes it a lot easier to release. It's like a smoother release. So when I'm looking for discs, I just like for me, flatter, flippier trespasses are my go-tos. They force me to not, turn my wrist too much, and they're coming out pretty clean. So that's what I like.
Nailed it.
Nothing to add to that, Robert?
No, flat tops are what I look for. I think that's what a lot of people look for. If you're looking for something super duper overstable, a lot of times in your distance drivers, those will be the more domey ones. So like you just throw them out of necessity because like that's what's the most overstable. But for the most part, I think flatter is more comfortable for a lot of people. And so discs that you see be flatter a lot are like the Felon. That's going to be flat almost all the time. You can find flat trespasses, or like I used to throw a really flat Lucid Defender, and it was great for just little pop-up forehands that would ride straight and then finish to the right. So excellent. I think it's more of a profile than like a disc quality.
Yeah.
Well, this next question is very appropriate because we're getting ready to talk about Trilogy Challenges, but they actually have a question about one of the Trilogy Challenge discs.
Nice.
So as you know, you can go to trilogychallenge.com, and the events start around May 30th, and this weekend, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
So you can look for one in your area, and they'll go for the next few months. You can play. And one of the discs you get is the Latitude 64 SPZ3. And so Dan says he's hoping to play into his first Trilogy Challenge this year. So good on you, Dan. His quick question is about the SPZ3. Will it be lightweight like the ones that come in starter sets, or will it be heavier?
Do you know the answer, Paige?
The lightest ones I've seen were probably 169 or 168, but I've also seen 175. So yep. I'm thinking the lightest you're going to find is going to be that 160.
Yeah, Robotic Paige nailed it.
Yes.
The starter sets are made with the base plastic, so they're easier to get to those lighter weights. But because these SPZ3s are premium plastic, it's more difficult to get those to lighter weights without them being just straight up air discs. So you might see some in the mid 160s, but more than likely you're going to be 165 to 175. That's just kind of the range that we have most of the time.
Now, have you got a chance to throw any of these, Paige, the SPZ3?
Yes. Yep. I was able to, I got some to test, and also I was part of that Trilogy Challenge on YouTube. Trilogy Challenge. And they're pretty nice. They're a little overstable. They kind of remind me of an Explorer, but they go pretty far for a fairway driver, so I like them.
Nice. All right, guys, like I said, trilogychallenge.com, find yourself one that's near you, and you can try out these 3 discs. The Latitude 64 SPZ3, the Dynamic Disc Bounty, which is the mid-range, and the BT Hybrid Crown, which is from Westside. That's going to be your putter. If you don't find one in your area, you can always host one, raise a little bit of money for your club, for your organization, for your course.
Yourself.
Or
self-preservation fund.
You could always send me a check. So
don't do that part. Take that one off the table. Keep it for you.
Okay, sorry, that's probably not too good. Okay, Dan has another question about tournament coverage. During this COVID-19 shutdown, I've been watching old tournament coverage on YouTube. I was wondering, how do the commentators like Big Germ and Nate Sexton know what disc everyone is throwing? Does Jomez and Cecil Cross and others ask the players and keep a record, or the players on tour and the video teams just know everyone's bag that well? Thanks for keeping us entertained during this off-season 2.0. So, Robert, you have experience from. I know Paige has done some commentary too, so I'm sure she could fill in. But how do you guys just have memories like crazy, right? You see it one time and you know exactly what everybody throws.
Yeah, I mean, once I see a disc, like I've got it. That's I
Right.
know. No, I reach out to them before every round, and I say, hey, would you mind? If we're doing live, I'll have them send over pictures of the discs that they have. Say this is this disc, this color. I usually throw it on these holes. I putt with this. This is my forehand approach disc. So while I may not nail it every single time, the most important thing is just do some research, get with a player and ask them about it. If you're doing post produced, you almost don't have an excuse because you've usually got some time to get with the players and they can say, I remember. Disc golfers are like this. You could go back to the last several rounds of disc golf you've played and be like, okay, on hole 1, I threw this on the drive. I was over on the left side. I was like 100 short. So I had a pitcher on the tree. So I threw this disc. I made this putt and so on. They can all do that. And so on post-produced, it's much easier to do. On live, you just kind of have to get ahead of it, ask the players what they're throwing, and then usually they're pretty happy to help you out.
Yeah. All right, next one comes from Brian. This will be a quick answer. I'll take care of this one. He wants to know about the nearest buyback retailer. His is 22 miles away and stocks only 1 or 2 discs from Dynamic Discs. How can I take advantage of this program? So if you're new to the podcast, the buyback program allows you to go shop any store that sells our brands, and you can try out our brands for, and I say our brands, Latitude 64, Dynamic Discs, or Westside Disc. You can try them for 14 days. If it's not what you thought it was going to fly like, you can take it back and use it to get something different. So what you can do, you can go to dynamicdisc.com/retailer, and you can actually find retailers that sell our discs near you. And then there's a little indicator that tells you whether they're a buyback store. If you need more buyback stores near you, then make sure you tell that store to become a buyback retailer. It costs nothing to them. You actually get exclusive access to new discs and new plastics faster than some of the other stores. So it's definitely a program you want to look into. Or you can just go to dynamicdisc.com/buyback, I believe is a friendly URL. You can get a lot more information about it.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to Drake. Oh, he has a hot take.
Should we just use it for today?
We might just use it today. Yeah. We'll save that one for today. Okay. Let's see. Ooh, another.
Is it a worthy hot take though? Like, is it a good one?
Well, I can't tell you what it is because then you'll know.
But is it good? Like, does it work?
It's not really a hot take. It's more like, what's your opinion?
Well, okay, let us know.
Okay, so here it is. It's not really a hot take. I don't think it's a hot take. Maybe you guys will think differently. He says, hey, not really really a question so much as a hot take, suggested hot take. Apologies if it's been done before. Similar to our cousin sport, ball golf, during sanctioned events, there should be a limit on the number of discs you may carry during a round.
Yeah, we've heard that one. We haven't talked about it as a hot take, but we've discussed it on Answer Man.
Oh,
quite a bit. Times. Yeah. I don't really care for it just because you can kind of do whatever you want. I mean, I think it could add a cool, limiting factor to disc golf, but in golf, you're playing a hole with water carry and you dunk one. Well, you just pull another golf ball out of your bag. They don't give you a limit on the number of golf balls you can carry. But say you throw your favorite driver in the water, like that's let's say it's 14. That's 1/14 of what you use to make your livelihood if you're a professional player. And not being able to have a backup for that kind of sucks. It'd be like if you hit a 5-iron and it went into the ball went into the water, you don't get to use your 5-iron the rest of the round. Yeah, I'm not really interested in that personally. Yeah. What do you think, Paige?
I feel the same. I feel the exact same. It doesn't make sense for disc golf.
Yep.
I'm going to grab a question real quick because this is a good question from Claire on the YouTube chat. Paige, how long did it take to improve your distance when throwing? So how long did it take for you to notice that, wow, I can throw far?
That's very interesting. I really didn't actually start throwing pretty far until I really started touring full time, which was in 2018, that one, my summer before I won Worlds. And it was really just because I was competing almost every week. And as an FPO player on tour, 99% of the holes, unfortunately for the women, you got to throw as hard as you can. That's just how it is. So I was just forced to throw as hard as I can and to shot shape for distant shots, over and over every weekend, and that's just kind of forced me to do it. I know for me in my game, mentally and physically, like I need repetition if I want to get better. There's some people that they take a break and come back and they're fine, everything's okay. But for me, I need to do it over and over and over and over again, and that's just how it was with distance. Just kept trying and trying, throwing harder and harder, trying to work on timing, and videotape myself. And honestly, I don't know if it helped that much, but it just seemed like, I was just naturally just getting further and further down the fairway, and it was pretty awesome.
Gotcha. Cool. All right. Gavin wants to know real quick, is there going to be a Trilogy Challenge in Kansas this year? Yes, Gavin, there are some Trilogy Challenge. Go to trilogychallenge.com, select that events tab, and you'll see plenty happening in Kansas over the next couple of months. Let's hop over to Scott. He has a question about fairway drivers. When will we see dynamic discs add to its lineup in the 6 and 7 speed range? I really like throwing an Innova Eagle and would like to see something like this in the Trilogy lineup. Any suggestions you have for him, Paige?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
Do you have any suggestions for him if he's liking the Innova Eagle and he's wanting something in that 6 and 7 speed range?
Man, off the top of my head, I don't really know. I don't really know what would be comparable.
Yeah.
Do you, Robert?
Yeah, I think if you really like the Eagle, I think you would probably like the Culverin from Latitude 64. It's probably a little bit faster than an Eagle, but I think you'd have similar stability out of the box. But if you're asking about 6 and 7 speed discs, we're always working on something. If I would say, I know what. I bet that's something that we address at some point. Whether it's next year, in the future, who knows? But we're always working on something.
Always working on something. Sometimes working on too much. Hey, that's perfect.
Wait, what?
All right, next one comes from Zach. Getting legs into the putt. Hey, Bobby, Robert, Eric, and guest, which would be Paige.
Oh, nice.
I can putt. I can putt okay at 20 feet and in, but past that, I'm having trouble getting my legs into the putt. How can you tell if you are using your legs correctly? When I try to add my legs, it throws my timing off and doesn't get as much distance as not trying to use my legs. Also, is it better to putt with the nose flat or nose up?
Interesting. I know for me, like when I first really learned, like really incorporating your legs does help a lot. It felt really weird, and my timing was also pretty terrible. But I just, like I said, repetition and keep practicing and practicing. There's really two ways that people incorporate their legs, and that's either like springing upward or, going from back to forth, right? So maybe if you're trying one way, try the other way. I know as a push putter, I like to, squat down and like push upwards, but, like someone who's more of a spin putter, maybe they like to, rock their body backwards and then forward so that they have more momentum going into their wrist. So if you're trying one way, maybe try the other way. And what was the second part of that question?
If it's better to putt with the nose flat or nose up?
Oh, I guess it really depends on the type of putt you have. I'm a push putter, so I actually putt a little nose down because I have to get it the height, and I kind of plan on it to fall. So I'm assuming nose up would maybe help as you're more further outside the circle, so that it kind of glides further and you can kind of predict the fade a little better. But I think it's probably just preference in your putting style.
Very cool. All right, we're going to hop over to Darby. Greetings, Disc Golf fam from Bartlesville, Oklahoma.
Dang, hometown hero.
I know, where I'm just 3 minutes away from Bobby's home. Hey,
wait. How do you know
wait.
that?
Home course of Sooner Park. Okay, home course, Sooner Park.
Okay,
not my home. Okay. I apologize. This is a stupid question. Just kidding. I know there are no stupid questions, only stupid people. Actually,
That's
stupid
wrong.
people are the ones that ask the stupid questions. So
Yeah, the stupid questions all come from stupid people, which is 100%.
I utilize a push putt on the green and have developed a slightly nose up release. Because of this, I've noticed an issue on a downhill putts where I regularly miss high, hitting the band or even skimming the top of the basket. I've tried adjusting my aiming point on the downhill putts to just above the rim of the cage, but have not been able to consistently solve this problem. Any tips to fixing this would be greatly appreciated. Keep it real, keep it safe, keep it real safe. Love you. Bye.
Bye. Dude, I
What do you
got this
think?
one.
You got this? Uh-oh, here we go.
Here it is. Okay, so
Buckle up.
when you're putting at a flat basket, you've got a certain setup that ideally is the same every time, right? The nose angle is really similar. Your feet are similar width apart. That helps a lot. When you're putting downhill, and your arm travels a similar distance, right? When you're putting downhill, what often happens is if you keep your feet the same distance apart, now your arm has a lot farther to travel, right? So when you pull back, a lot of times you're getting yourself, like, you're making your arm swing a lot longer than it usually is. And so your follow through is often going to be over the basket. It's probably less nose angle than it really is, letting the disc go at your regular release point, which now that you're on a downhill is too high. So one thing that you can do to fix that is when you're on a downhill lie, take your back foot back a little bit, widen your stance backwards some, because that's going to make your pullback a little bit longer back. But now when you extend forward, your body is already leaned a little bit more forward than you're used to. So your release point is going to feel a little bit more natural if you kick that back foot out, right? The same goes for uphill putts. If you bring your feet closer together, now your arm, instead, I mean, it's like, okay, here we are. If we're on an uphill putt, and you're, sorry for audio listeners, but if my back foot comes up just a little bit, that changes the plane of my shoulders. Same thing for a downhill putt. So now I'm matching the angle a little bit better rather than setting up how I normally would. So it's all about trying to keep your arm swing about the same distance as before. If it's an uphill putt, you're shortening your backswing, but making your follow through higher. That's going to help get you some elevation up the hill. And then the opposite is true of a downhill putt. If you take that foot back, your backswing is longer, so your follow through isn't quite as long, but you're matching the plane of the hill. So if you're putting downhill, back it up. If you're putting uphill, bring your feet closer together. Bang.
There it is. Boom.
Boom.
All right, we're going to try like we did last week. Hopefully, I think you should be able to hear it, Paige, but we're going to try a speak pipe, and this is where people, of course, send in their voicemail for a question. So hang tight. We're going to try this again like we did last week. Here we go.
What's up, Answerman? This is Don from Wisconsin again, and actually had a possible hot take topic. My hot take is USDGC should be moved to a different course. You know, maybe like the IDGC, or you know, a pair of courses like Brewster Ridge and Fox Run. And the reason is that, you know, it's experimental. They're always experimenting with different rules there. It doesn't seem very championship-like because, you know, they don't do it, you know, at any other tournaments. And then, you know, it's just all the man-made OB and man-made objects. It just doesn't seem as professional. So my hot take is that the USDGC should be moved somewhere else. Could still keep that event, but it just wouldn't be the USDGC. It'd just be a tournament played at Rock Hill. Yeah, that's my hot take topic. Use it if you want. I'd like to hear your opinions. And that's it.
We do not want to use it. No, I'm playing.
I think we can talk about it right now.
Yeah, go for it. What do you think? What do you think, Paige? Should the USDGC be moved to a different course?
Man, I agree with it that it's kind of fluky and kind of weird with so much man-made OB, you know. But I also think it just requires a lot of precision, a lot of mental strength, a lot of, you know, really trusting yourself, trusting your discs. Plus, you know, it has always been there, and it is prestigious in that way. And man, I feel both ways because I really like Rock Hill, and I think some of the years it's been great, some of the years it's been really terrible, you know. And I think it's cool that they have that event to experiment with and just, you know, have players play in different ways, like the stroke and distance. That's something completely new, and you know, our top players should be able to handle those weird rules or, you know, those tight OBs. So as much as I'm like, yeah, the USGC is kind of fluky, I think it should stay in Rock Hill and they can just make changes, you know?
Yep, I'm with you on that. I mean, it's like I understand the idea because other championships are played at different places. Worlds is on a different course pretty much every year. But this is kind of like our Masters. You know, the Masters is always played at Augusta National, and there's a certain prestige that goes along with that, right? The same thing is true of Rock Hill and Winthrop Gold. And I'll tell you, if you haven't stood on the course before and you haven't played it roped up, it's a lot more difficult than it looks. It looks like it's wide open and you just throw your shots and you're like, walk in the park. I won't find OB that much. No, it's freaking hard. Okay. You find OB a lot. And hole 17 it's just crazy difficult. So having all that said, I love having it at the same place every year because of the history that goes along with it. I think having something that's a tradition like that is really cool. So I'm in favor of keeping it there. I would love if it was on a different course that's, you know, maybe has a little bit more variety or something and have been there for forever. I would argue for that too. But I think it's just a really cool event, and I like leaving it at Winthrop Gold.
Gotcha. Yeah. All right, we're gonna try one more for Speak Pipe. This is Tyler.
Hey, Disc Golf Answer Man. I want to thank you guys for your podcast. Love it. I've listened to almost all of them, and really appreciate what you guys do for the sport. Because of that, I've switched my bag all to DD. I've really enjoyed the molds and the plastics that I've tried. And one advice that you guys mention a lot that I've taken to heart is narrowing the molds in my bag so I can trust them and truly know what that mold's going to do. I don't have a big arm. I have about a 300 to 330 foot arm. I throw a lot of fairways. I throw the escape a lot and really enjoy that. I have a Felon, but that I enjoy, but it is pretty overstable for me. One disc that I haven't really found a good replacement for so far is the Wraith. I'm looking for something stability-wise that's in between the escape and the Felon. I have tried the Getaway, and it just didn't feel good in my hand. Wondering if there's any other suggestions that you might have. I don't know if the Sergeant would be a good spot there, or if you guys have other thoughts. Thank you again for all you do, and keep it real.
What do you think? Oh, Paige may be frozen.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and jump in there, Robert.
Okay. I missed the very first part of that. Can you say just the first part again?
Yep.
Hey, Disc Golf Answer Man. I want to thank you guys for your podcast. Love it. I've listened.
He thanked us for a podcast.
That's not the part that I missed.
Well, that's not the part you missed. Okay, sorry.
No.
To almost all of them, and really appreciate what you guys do for the sport. Because of that, I've switched my bag all to DD.
Yes.
I've really enjoyed the molds and the plastics that I've tried. And one advice that you guys mention a lot that I've taken to heart is narrowing the molds in my bag so I can trust them.
Yes.
And
Okay, so then he asked about the Wraith.
Yes.
Okay, so I think we have two really good Wraith discs that are similar to the Wraith in one way or another. And one that you mentioned was the Sergeant. I agree 100%. I think the Sergeant is a good speed compared to the Wraith, though it's going to be a little bit more overstable out of the box than a Wraith is going to be. The other one that I would suggest is the Latitude 64 Flow. If you find a Latitude 64 Flow that has just like a moderate dome, not super domey, not super flat, but somewhere in the middle, I mean, that it feels like a Wraith, it flies like a Wraith. It's super consistent, a little turn, a little fade, more stable than a Trespass, but less stable than like a Raider or something like that. So those are the two I would look at, are the Sergeant and the Flow.
So, Paige, to his point about keeping your molds to a minimum, is that kind of your style of play too, or are you just carry as many different molds as you possible?
I'm someone that has a lot of molds. I think it's just mentally, they all do different things, and it's just what I'm comfortable with. It's what I've practiced. At least when it comes to like mid ranges and fairways, I have a lot of molds. My distance drivers are pretty much, I only got a few of those. I mean, keeping it simple has its benefits, but if in the long run, you like different types of discs and they each do different things, whatever's going to work for you.
Gotcha. All right, let's head back to the Google Forms. This is from Tyler. Hey guys, I've been playing for less than a year. I'm a big guy and have noticed when pulling through on a backhand, right hand backhand, that my body, stomach, chest gets in the way of a proper pull through. Any tips on getting out of my own way?
Maybe try leaning forward a little more on your reach back. I would think, because like if you're doing it pretty like straight up and down, I could see where like everything would get in the way, because I know a lot of girls have that problem too with their chest. So maybe leaning forward a little so that your pull through is, your body's less in the way. That would probably be my immediate response to that.
Yeah, I think that's true. You can also experiment a little bit with the with a wide whale throw.
While you're hunting rabbits?
Throw a wide whale throw. A wide rail throw. I think that's one. I think that's one to check out. There's some people who do that extremely well. But I mean, it's not the same for everybody. If you're trying to pull through and keep things close to your body, I think leaning forward could help a little bit. You might also offset your feet just a little bit more than normal. Put your right foot forward, like a little bit more to the left than you normally would. That's going to allow you to pull the disc away from your body on a straight line and not have to pull it so very close to you to keep it on a straight line throughout. So that might be something to try.
All right, next one comes from Caden. He wants to know about about a go-to fairway driver. Hello, my name is Caden. I am 16 years old. I can throw a lucid escape around 300 feet and have been playing for about 4 months. I'm looking to step up in stability, but stay in the 9 to 10 range. What are the differences in the fairway driver, such as the Ati, the Getaway, the Long Bowman, and the Pioneer?
All right, I can start here, and I'll let Paige share her experience as well. Is that okay?
Yeah. Oh, I thought she started. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so the Ati is very much like a Felon. It's super similar to the Felon, and the Pioneer is really similar too. So if you're looking at like that kind of just staple, overstable fairway driver, those two live in the same space. Ati and Pioneer do. The Long Bowman is a little bit straighter and a little bit slower. It says the numbers say that it's not, but it is. It's a little bit slower than something like the Getaway. The Getaway is closer to like a faster Explorer than it is something like the Ati. So while their numbers are all kind of similar, the Long Bowman is straighter. The Getaway is straighter with more glide. The Ati and the Pioneer both have quite a bit of left finish and some good overstability to them.
Gotcha. Any other different, or would you have a different suggestion for him, Paige, as far as up in stability over the lucid escape? Nope.
She froze.
She froze.
I would choose the Getaway of that bunch. It was like when we made it, it was with the intention of it being a more overstable escape.
Yeah.
I think that's the best one.
Cool.
Or if you find a Lucid X escape, or maybe even a Lucid X Vandal, both of those are really good choices for that gap too.
All right, this next one is from Don. I'm looking for a forehand roller disc. I currently use a Sexton Firebird, but I want something that's a little more controllable, something that goes a little straighter and longer before it cuts left. For reference, I can get the Firebird up to 300 feet. Real distance, he says.
Not internet.
Not internet. Thanks for the help, and thanks for keeping it real.
All right, so
You
a
back with
fairway
the page?
Driver. Did you catch that, Paige?
Yes. Oh, can y'all hear me now?
Yeah,
Yes.
we can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I honestly don't have that much to say. I don't really know much about forehand rollers. I don't throw them like ever, so I don't think I'd be the best one to answer this.
Okay, what do you got, Robert?
All right, so when you're throwing rollers, if a disc is more understable, then it's more prone to try and flip over more, like to flip over quicker. Okay, so if you throw it on a backhand line, you start it on like 45 degrees and it lands at 11 o'clock and rolls. It'll start to move to the right faster if it's an understable disc than an overstable disc. However, for something like a forehand roller, a lot of times you start those nearly up and down, and by the time they start moving, by the time they flip to the left, they're just going to spin out really quickly. So if you're looking for something that will go straighter before doing that, you're probably actually looking for something a little bit more understable. So in that same range, you would probably want to try like the fairway drivers we just talked about. The Getaway would be a great one. The Escape would probably be pretty good. And then if you can find a Lucid X Vandal, that kind of sits in between those two discs with a similar feel to something like the Firebird. They're generally flat. I think you'd like a disc like that for that shot.
All right. Looks like we're having some technical difficulties with Paige's feed. So
yeah.
Let's see.
On the board, Andy says Lucid X Felon, great forehand roller disc. I agree. I think it's a super good forehand roller disc. But if you're looking for something less overstable, I would go with the disc that we talked about before. Now, if you're looking to just straight up replace the Firebird, yeah, Lucid X Felon, 100% do it.
Whoa, this one's a long question. All right, we'll come back to that one question another time. That was a long one. Let's see. Let's go to Tanner. Warden as throwing putter. This would be favorite for Robert.
I can't wait.
I bought a Lucid Warden and I hate it. I'm just teasing. That's not what he said. He said, I bought a Lucid Warden when I first felt it. Oh, wait. When I first felt it, I didn't like it. It had a definite dome, unlike my classic and classic blend Wardens. I like flat top Wardens. What would you recommend as a Warden plastic for throwing?
You already have it. It's the Lucid one. No, I throw a couple of different ones. I have the older run of Lucid ones are a little bit flatter. The newer ones kind of have a little bit higher shoulder. So they're not necessarily domey, but they are taller than Wardens used to be. So I throw the Lucid ones that are a little bit flatter. And then for straight shots or turnovers, I throw classic blend Wardens. Those generally come out a little bit flatter. They're not going to be as overstable out of the box. They're going to be quite a bit straighter out of the box, but that's what I like them for. So those are the ones I would choose.
Now you throw the Judge for your throwing putter, Paige. Why do you throw the Judge?
Yes, definitely. Also, number one, I like the bead, and I like the overstability of it. The Warden does go pretty straight. Thrown in some of the premium plastics, and a lot of the premium plastic putters fly pretty similarly, straight to overstable finish, but the Judge just feels the most comfortable in my hand, and I just feel like it goes just a little further, just a little more glass.
Gotcha.
I mean,
cool.
If you're trying to have a putter throwing contest to see which one goes further, you're cutting in and out a little bit.
Yeah, you're cutting in and out.
But all I'm saying, Paige, is if you're trying to get into like a putter distance throwing contest, I mean, I'm in. Like, I'm 100% in. You bring Judges, I'll bring Wardens. We'll see who wins. It's fine. She can't even respond.
I know, she's speechless.
Yeah.
She don't know what to say.
It has nothing to do with the reception.
All right, let's get one more question in before we end this episode. This one is from Tyler. Hey guys.
All right.
Hey, thanks for answering my question on rounding a few weeks ago. Okay, her reactions are
She's
catching up with us. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
You're okay. Thanks for answering my question about rounding a few weeks ago. I'm slowly progressing in my game and have noticed one thing that I've been struggling with is when throwing for distance, I tend to throw it too low, but when I try and throw it higher, I get the disc too nose up and it also doesn't go as far. How can I find that happy medium so I can start bombing my drives? How does he start bombing?
Paige, how does he bomb? Tell him.
All right. So what I've noticed is when a lot of people try to throw further and harder, they tend to drop their shoulder more. And they really try to use that shoulder more than using, the muscles back here to really drive that elbow. So I would just make sure you're kind of focusing on, you don't really mess with the way you release the disc. It's just where your shoulders are lined up. So remember, just try to keep your body straight up.
Yep, I think we lost her.
She gone.
Can you finish that thought for her?
Did you hear me?
Ooh. We didn't catch the very, very last part.
That's okay.
Right.
Maybe she'll catch up while I'm talking. It's hard to say for sure. All right. So I think what Paige said is true. If you dip your shoulder down a little bit too much, then it's a lot more difficult for you to get the angle, the proper angle of the disc in the air. So when you're throwing anhyzers, you're almost following through to the ground, because you're wanting to get that nose level or nose down. That's really difficult to do. But one of the most important things that you can do is start your.
Hear me now?
See, there it was. We can hear you, Paige, but you're still very much like a robot.
Yeah.
So when you're starting to throw a hyzer, you kind of reach down low and finish high, right? The opposite is true for when you're throwing an anhyzer. You reach back, not really high necessarily, but your follow through is going to be toward the ground. That's going to get you started on the angle that you need. So the difference between throwing a good anhyzer angle and a nose up shot is very minimal, but that makes all the difference. That's what's going to turn it from being a good shot to just being one that's like weak and fades out. I know that difference because it's one of the shots that I struggle with is long anhyzers, getting that nose angle over properly.
Awesome. All right. Well, we went ahead and let Paige out of the Zoom room. She was in an area that was not getting very good cell coverage. So, but we want to thank Paige Shue definitely for joining us and helping us answer some questions. Guys, make sure you follow her on Instagram, Paige Shue, S-H-U-E, Paige, S-H-U-E 33833 is her Instagram handle. She does a lot of stuff on Instagram, so you can follow her especially when she's going to start touring. I bet you're going to see a lot of behind the scenes stuff with her and Grady. So
right.
Good
When she's not a robot.
When she's not a robot, yes, she will become a human once they can afford it. So let's get her some touring money and some fun.
We hope that she can finally be a human again.
Right. Yes. So anyway, thanks again for joining us on the Disc Golf Answer Man Show. If you're on YouTube, hang on so we can do the hot takes. We're going to have Anthony and Danis Anthony and Danny join us for Disc Golf hot takes. But we'll see you on the next Disc Golf Answer Man.
Oh, no, wait,
Nope.
stop. Are you still going?
Yes.
Nice.
Oh, you caught it. Yes.
Yes. I have Wardens to give away. Okay. So, a couple of weeks ago, I said, the Wardens are on my bed. Hold, please.
That's not something you typically hear on a podcast. Well, I guess depending on what kind of podcast.
They're not.
But
It's not my bed. It's a guest bedroom. But
Okay.
Don't worry about it. Okay. A couple of weeks ago, we said, hey, we wanted to see some more reviews on iTunes. And so I asked you guys to submit them, and you did. So I went through and randomly selected a couple of submissions to receive these classic hybrid Wardens. Check it out. Oh my gosh, look how good that looks.
For our audio listeners, they are gorgeous.
It's way better than a judge. I'll tell you that right now. Anyway, so the first one of these is going to go to Jackson Pittman. He submitted his review on May 13th. He said, Disc Golf Audio / Disc Golf Answer Man is the best disc golf or non-disc golf podcast out there. Big accolades for us. Really enjoy that. Every episode will make you laugh your socks off, but you'll also learn a lot about disc golf. He says some nice stuff about me and you. I don't want to, fluff our egos too much while
Go ahead.
Okay, Robert and Bobby are the perfect complement to each other, and the guests they bring on the show are always very entertaining and informative and robotic. He didn't say.
Did he
this.
highlight Bobby?
No, it only said Robert.
Oh, okay.
No, it said Robert and Bobby are the perfect complement. Anyway, if you have any interest in disc golf at all or are looking into it as something you'd like to try, definitely check out Disc Golf Audio.
Boom.
Jackson, for your review, you got this here, classic hybrid Warden coming your way. What I need you to do is log into iTunes podcast or Apple Podcast, take a screenshot that you are you and send that over to us. You can send it to me on social media or you can email it to Bobby. I guess you can say your email address if you want to. It's bobby@dynamicdiscs.com.
Yes, BOBBY.
Yep. Send that over to us. We will get this sent out to you. Jackson, if we don't hear from you in a couple of weeks, we will put this back up for grabs. Now, that was from the first week of That was from the first week of reviews. Now, all of the first week of reviews and the second week of reviews were available for the giveaway the second time around. And just so happens that the second time came from the second week of reviews. This one comes from M.N. Ingham. I think this is Matheson Ingham, if I had to guess. I know who this person is. He said culture making. He said the disc golf audio crew, formerly known as the DeGam fam, is significantly influencing disc golf culture in a positive way. So if you want to know what's up, you got to listen. Thank you, Matheson. Appreciate that. Matheson, if you wouldn't mind reaching out to me on social media, since we've messaged before, I've got this classic hybrid Warden for you. We've got 2 more weeks worth of giveaways for our iTunes reviews. So if you haven't already done so, go to Apple Podcasts, give us that 5-star review that we want so very badly. And tell us why you enjoy the show. You can say something about the Warden if you want to, but we just want to know why you guys enjoy being a part of Disc Golf Audio. So check that out. Might just net you one of my pinkish, purplish, classic hybrid Wardens. For the other 2, make sure and message with your address so we can get those sent out to you.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. So that's it for the Disc Golf Answer Man Show. Thanks again for tuning in. Look for us, Disc Golf Audio, for the Answer Man Show, for the Disc Golf Hot Take, and of course, more on the call once we get started with the touring season. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
All right. The recording will be converted to MP4 when the meeting is over. All right. So we're going to have some people join us. Anthony is in the waiting room. Let's have Anthony join us.
I'll be right back.
All right.
Very quickly.
Anthony.
Hey.
How you doing, man?
Did Robert just leave then?
Yeah. He's, as soon as he said Anthony's coming in, he said, I'm out.
That seems to be a common trend. I haven't seen him in months, so I
Yeah.
think he's just avoiding me at this point.
So what did I see on your Instagram that I wanted to ask you about? You got something new or something, or maybe it was your girlfriend's
The one that she posted today
Instagram story. Yeah, you got
Yeah.
something. What was it?
was they're like these little I don't even know how it's like an automatic fish thing for our cat.
Oh yeah, and it said TikTok made us get it or something like that.
She showed me one. She is big into TikTok. I do
Mhm.
not have one, but we'll watch them sometimes. And she found one where this just random person was like, "Hey, I bought these things on Amazon. They're cool, and you should buy them." And one of the things that they bought was it's like a little pack of automated fish that you just put in a bowl of water, a bathtub, whatever, and they have a little flashing light, and supposedly cats go nuts. And so we tried it, and we put them, filled the bathtub with water, put a couple of them in there, brought the cat in the bathroom, and then like an hour later, he was still just staring at him in the bathtub. So if you're ever looking for any cat toy recommendations, apparently TikTok is the place to go.
Now, did the cat? So the cat just stared at it, didn't try to swap it out or swipe it out or whatever.
I think he tried one time because he like the door to the bathroom is kind of adjacent to the room that I'm in right now.
Yeah.
And one time I heard him kind of make some commotion, and I
Splashing
went
noise,
up.
yeah.
One of his paws was a little bit wet, so I don't know if he tried to swat at it or just was like perched up on the bathtub and kind of slipped in or what. But so far he has not gone in. He's not a fan of being in the water.
I
He
gotcha.
just likes to look at things in the water. Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. Well, Daniel Lindahl has joined us on the feed. How are you in our Zoom room?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good, good.
Happy
good,
to be
good.
here.
Happy to be. Oh, thank you. Yes, happy to have you. Okay, Robert is back, so we're going to jump into our disc golf hot takes for our YouTubers. Though we'll just check in. What did you guys do for the weekend? Did you play any disc golf, Anthony or Danny?
It was excessively wet, so I did not play any disc golf.
Yeah.
I would have loved to, but it was excessively wet, and I like my shoes, so I stayed inside and played video games the whole time. It was wonderful.
Solid.
Any highlights to share with us about your video gameplay?
No, I'm pretty bad at games, but I had a
All
good time.
Just keeping it real, 100%.
Not a lot of
No.
success. It was just entertaining.
No, I mean, yeah, I tried really hard,
Right.
but win
I've
some,
been-
you lose some.
What
I've
about
been
you,
grinding
Anthony?
Rocket League for a little while.
Sick.
Just playing rocket-powered cars and just boosting so hard. The name of our clan is Full Boost, multiple O's, not just the 2.
Just as many.
Lots
as you
of
can
O's.
get. Yeah.
And once a game, you have to solemnly swear when you join. But once a game, you have to, whether it's a smart move or not, full send across the field, yelling full boost. Whether you hit the ball or not is inconsequential.
Yes. By the way, side note, I don't know when the last time either of you played Rocket League with Robert. He's gotten very good.
Hey.
That's actually the reason I'm not playing. I'm not playing Rocket League with Robert right now. Because I know he's better than me now. So I'm.
Yes, a few weeks ago, I felt like Robert and I were kind of like about the same. It's not the same. I'm getting carried hard,
dude. But we're having.
Wait,
fun.
that's a good point. I'm interested in getting carried. I should hop on.
What you need is Temp to carry you. He's still the best of the bunch for sure.
Okay.
But I've been working hard at it. I'm enjoying myself for sure.
Sick.
Very cool. All right. Well, Anthony, you never did get a chance to fill us in what you did.
On Friday night, me and a couple of guys got together and played some Magic. We have been working from home, and we all still kept our distance and used hand sanitizer and stuff like that. And then Saturday, there was one nice day where Madison and I just went out we were going to go to the lake over at Malvern Lake, but everything was closed. And so there was just like a little pond, I guess that's part of it. I don't know. It's not the actual lake. It's like there's the dam, and then the water flows through the dam, and there's like 2 little offshoot lakes. It's not
the word. It's not the word. The only word I can think of is a lick. Like you have a big lake and then a little lick.
Sure. Yeah. So there we went to a little lick next to it, and we were the only ones there.
Like a creek and a crick. It makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Can we take a second to talk about regional colloquialisms? Like if you see a small stream running through a course, what do you call that?
It's a creek.
A creek.
Okay. People in Kansas and Missouri say crick.
I'm not sure if that is.
They say crick too, but
it's different.
Only as in like I only would do it just to be silly. Just say, look at that, there goes a crick. But I'm sure some people do it.
No, people like that's how they say it, and not as a joke. Same for the word that the bottom of trees extend into the ground.
Roots.
Say it again.
Roots.
Yeah. See, I say roots.
Yeah.
Oh well, there's the street in Emporia that people from Emporia call it Root Road, but it's very much root. Like your route to the place. Yes.
Look at it.
No, it's Root Road.
There is a difference between a creek and a crick, though. A creek is like is usually 15 feet wide. It pretty much always have water in it. A crick is something much smaller, like you normally find on disc golf courses. That's sometimes filled with water when it's rained, but for the most part, it's just rough and a lower area that causes a lot of mud. Like the right side of hole 2 out at East, that's a crick.
Okay. I disagree,
Well,
but I can go with it. I'm fine.
Now this place says crick is an American dialectical variant that is popular in some genres of fiction.
Ha, you're not real, Danny.
Creek is the standard. I know I'm not. Is the standard term in all other contexts.
Mr. Drew said, "Why is Robert making fun of the way people pronounce things now?" I'm not making fun of it. It's just different from what I'm used to. Like there are a lot of people in Kansas and north of here who don't say y'all, who say you guys. They think I'm stupid for saying y'all because I'm from Texas, but that's my life.
I'm trying to think of a time that Robert has ever mispronounced something. I can't think of anything.
I did one on the show today when we were talking about wide rail throw. I said wide whale.
Well,
wide whale flow.
You did something the other day where you mispronounced and
it infuriated me.
I'm just thinking of like completely not understanding how it's supposed to be said, and you just say it incorrectly. Think it's correctly, as I do most words, and I can't think of a single time. So you can talk about it. Is all I'm saying. You can make fun of people because
I'll save it for you. When I have one, I'll be like, you know what? All right, here it is, Danny.
I'm gonna mess this one up for Danny.
All right.
Let's get it.
This is. Let's see.
Crick equals part-time creek.
Digging DSO. So is this the hot take? Yeah. The hot take is we need to get rid of the word crick when describing a body of water.
The hot take is cricks are only for your neck.
Right.
British baseball is now cricket.
What do you call a river? A small river? A reaver or
no
river?
No.
Oh, see,
go-
Bobby, those are streams. That's totally different.
Yeah, that's way
okay.
different. I drive my car on Route 66.
Oh, somebody put some Wisconsin town names in the chat. We got to get Robert to pronounce those.
Oh, like
he's
like
dead.
Oconomowocs and all that. Yeah,
Oh,
those
he's
are,
dead.
Those are
Yes.
crazy. Yeah.
All right. So Paige unfortunately was not able to join us for the disc golf hot take. She was got into an area that had low cell phone coverage. So we had a couple on standby. Now I know both of you, Danny and Anthony, had one on standby, right? But Danny's is more disc golf related, whereas Anthony's is not. Is that my understanding from the chat?
Mine is not a fantastic hot take. I give it like a B-.
Okay.
Okay.
And Anthony,
So-
yours was less. Yours wasn't disc golf related.
Mine is not even remotely disc golf related. No.
Okay. We'll start with Danny's, and we'll use yours as the fallback if Danny is grading himself on a curve.
We also might have done mine before. I'm thinking, okay, here it is.
Wait, I got to record it.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not recording yet.
Yeah,
That's
hold
the
on.
whole point.
Dang it. I was so excited.
All right. Let me do the little intro. Welcome to another episode of Disc Golf Hot Takes. We have myself, Robert McCall, Danny, and Anthony.
You guys
And
don't
this is
have
the-
last names.
They don't have.
I don't even get all the
Embarrassing.
letters in my
This is-
real name.
Actually,
This
that's
is the-
cooler. Think
this
of
is
all the
the-
people you know that only have one name. That's better than having two. Beyonce,
We're basically
the show
Shaq.
where Danny doesn't.
Ronaldo.
Danny doesn't deserve a last name, and Anthony doesn't get his real name. So,
I see where I stand.
Yeah.
In this whole thing.
all right,
next
Danny. Danny has the floor. What say you, Danny?
We might have done this one before, so I'm kind of nervous about it.
Okay.
The PDGA should change the rules to limit how many discs a player can have in their bag.
We just talked about it on Disc Golf Answer Man.
Have we done it as a hot take though yet?
We have not done it as a hot.
Okay,
take.
I set the limit
No.
at 21. Come at me.
Okay, I'll play.
Here's my reason why. Okay,
play.
first off, it creates the idea of a set, right? You have to figure out like how many discs you want, which shots you want covered. It creates a lot more depth to the strategy in the game rather than just carrying all of the discs that you want and being able to cover every shot. Point the second. It also means that there's more of a punishment if you lose a disc, right? If you lose a disc right now, it's not really that big of a, I mean, it's a loss, but it's not nearly as big because you can literally just go buy one as long as you were within your 30 seconds. If Tournament Central's there or whatever, you can just go get one and come back. So it just makes the game a lot deeper. It makes more granularity in the strategy.
Okay. So, first of all, no, I'm just kidding. I'll say what I said on Disc Golf Answer Man, and I think that this is where the biggest differentiation is. Okay, disc golf is not golf. We can all agree on that. However, we take a lot of what we do from golf because the goals are similar, right? The biggest difference between golf and disc golf in this area is that according to, I guess it's USGA rules, you can carry as many golf balls as you want during a round. Take as many as you want. You can take 24 if you want if your caddy is willing to carry them.
Now,
Hold on.
No, wait. The ball rule. I've seen a couple people actually.
I
correct
saw people
Yeah.
post in the chat and they're wrong. You can take
Okay.
as many as you want.
My lord.
You can
Wow.
take as many as you want
Oh,
according
okay.
to the rules of
Man
golf.
knows.
So
If anyone
there.
would know, it's Robert.
So anyway, okay. All right. So you take as many golf balls as you want. And you go to hole 15 at Municipal Course and it's got a drive over water and you hit your driver, catch it a little thin and it drops in the water. Right. Well, now you just re-tee, you get another golf ball and you're hitting 3. Okay. So that's punitive because you're taking a penalty stroke. But imagine if when I hit my driver into the water, now I just don't get to hit driver anymore. If I hit a ball out of bounds, then I just can't use it anymore. That doesn't work for me. And I think it limits how well you can play during a round. So while I understand, I think that's kind of the point that you're making is now you have to be a little bit more conservative about the shots that you take because you have to preserve your discs. If one of your 21 is one that you can't live without and you end up throwing that and it goes in the water or it's a lost disc or whatever, too bad, so sad. But I'm not always. most of the time I'm going to argue for disc golf being able to be highlight worthy more often than not. And I think sometimes this takes us away from that. So say you play USDGC hole 17 and you get to, you get to hole 17 and you throw forehand out of bounds water, forehand out of bounds water, forehand out of bounds water, and you go to the drop zone. What if one of those forehand discs is literally your best disc for 18 and all you have left is overstable distance drivers? Like, you're kind of done for. And I think that's an unjust punishment for what the shot was, right? I think the punishment of losing that disc right now is enough, but to not be able to have a backup of it, I think is overly punitive for the shot. But that's where I'm at on it.
Imagine though, say you did lose your go-to disc and everyone knows that you lost your go-to disc, and then you still pull off the shot on 18. That's an even bigger highlight at that point.
Yes. Okay, true. But now you have to explain that to an audience, right? One of the big things about disc golf highlights that is important is that the vast majority of people watching don't have any idea what disc that was. They don't know who makes the disc. They're just watching it fly through the air, look really cool, and make it in the basket. And then we all celebrate. So the added adversity of not having the disc that you needed is kind of lost on that population. I would argue that's the population that needs disc golf highlights the most. We think they're cool. It introduces them to the sport.
I disagree. I think a newer player who doesn't have as many discs can relate more to someone who loses their favorite disc in the water. Because most of us here in this call, we have hundreds of discs that we can. Well, maybe not Bobby.
Bobby's probably got hundreds,
but we could just go replace that. It's not
200 mark, but I know I'm over 100.
Yeah.
We can just go replace any disc that we lose. But being in the round, to be more relatable to the average golfer, not being able to just go replace that disc is going to create more of a storyline there. And it makes it more relatable to the casual viewer.
Well, but I don't see that. I don't ever see that story being told on video. No one ever says, that we may see a disc go in the water, but I don't know that that becomes a topic of discussion. Now, of course, I guess you could say if that was the rule, then it would become a topic of discussion, because of course that's what a commentator would then start to talk about is, he just threw that driver. I wonder if that was their favorite driver or backup driver and things like that.
Sure.
Now, to digress, I do want to clarify that I did look up the rules on ball golf, and there is kind of a nuance with the rule. You are not limited to how many golf balls you can use, but you are limited to the golf balls that are in your bag.
Okay.
So let's say you brought 12 golf balls and you used all 12 of them up, then you're disqualified because you have no more golf balls.
Sorry, I should have said that. If you bring 3 golf balls and you lose all 3, DQ, you're out.
Right.
That almost happened. Okay. Brief sidetrack. That almost happened to Tiger Woods. He was winning a tournament. I don't remember if it was a major, but it was something pretty important. He was winning by 15 or something like that. And he got to the 18th hole, which was this big dog leg left. And his caddy had forgotten to put extra golf balls in the bag. And he had 1 golf ball left. And it's the ball that he'd been playing all day. And Tiger was like, hey, I'm going to go for it. And carry all this water and, go for the highlight play. And his caddy was like, no, I think you should play safe. And Tiger said, I'm winning by 15. I'm going to go for it. And had he hit that ball in the water, he would have been disqualified on 18. Like,
imagine being that caddy.
Dude, imagine losing your job in like the most split of all seconds. Anyway.
So in that vein, vein of that, sure, you're not limited to how many golf balls you can put in your bag, but you're limited to how many you put in your bag.
Sure.
In that vein, to Danny's point, would that be a thing where you'd just have to say, okay, you can shove as many discs as you can in your bag, but that's all you get. You can't go to your car and grab a replacement disc. You can't run to the local academy and grab yourself a disc. Or
you mean like for a weekend or for a round?
I'm talking about for the round.
Yeah.
Then that would change almost nothing.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I mean, how often have you been throwing? You started on hole 6, you get to 18 and you've lost 2 discs and your car is near hole 1. You go over and pick up 2 of those. That doesn't happen that often.
Yeah.
Now, if it was over the course of a weekend, maybe it would be a little bit different and more difficult, but You can, yeah. I mean, Mr. Drew just put in the chat, can you replace discs along the way? Right now,
Yes.
you can, yeah. As long as you're within the time constraint, you can.
And I
I don't know.
think
What do you think, Anthony? I'm interested in your thoughts.
I have a question for Danny. Is this a thing that you're proposing across the board for PDGA events, or is this just at the top level, like just open?
across the board, leveling the playing field.
I
don't
feel like this is just punishing bad players.
And
like,
what's
if
wrong
you-
with that?
or aggressive players, honestly.
But think about it at the top level right now, people throw in the water sometimes, but how often does that end up mattering? When was the last time that someone lost a tournament and they were like, I didn't have my felon. If I had my felon, I could have gone for it on 18, whatever. At the Memorial a few years ago, Paul played with an entirely new to him bag and won. So like,
yeah, hateful, by the way.
Now to that point, I've been, and I can specifically think of Arizona at times when I can't remember who, I think it was Patrick Brown or somebody was raking out the water because they had lost their favorite driver.
Sure, I'm not saying
So-
it never happens.
Right. So I think it does happen. But yeah, now I forgot my other point I was going to make.
Plus, you can have
Should've
as
just
many
yelled it
backups as you want with you. If you're going to go for it on the hole, you could, on the risky hole, you could just shove a bunch of backups in the top of my Ranger there. I can carry as many discs as I need to up there.
Sure.
This creates a lot more risk because now if I'm going to do that, I don't get to have my roller disc or I don't get to have something else.
Yeah. See,
That's what it was. My point was, you guys said that it punishes the aggressive player. And my point is that I don't know that it punishes it, but would cause them to now have to strategize differently.
right.
So they would just have to change their strategy. No, but you're not you're just asking
Hey,
them to
that thing
change
you
their
normally
strategy.
do? You can't do that anymore.
Well, but that just changes the gameplay. I don't think you're messing up the game of disc golf. You're just changing it to where the gameplay now has to be a little bit different.
Yeah. Okay. So I hear that. I think that anything that we can do to make disc golf more fun to watch and less limiting in any way, I'm interested. No. I mean, with caveats, right? I'm not trying to make.
Why not have like?
I'm not trying to make
Jack
baskets
Daniels?
the
I mean, that'd
size
be
of
more fun.
fairways, like
I'm playing
that,
Bobby's
whatever.
tournament sometime.
Within the current constraints, I don't want to limit it anymore because getting disc golf in front of more eyeballs, I think is a pretty important thing to all of us, right? And to your point, Danny, about and I think you echoed this, Bobby, about if that's something that the commentator would know while they're calling a shot. And so now they get to 18 and, whoever's calling the action says, he doesn't have his straight fairway driver or even his understable fairway driver. This is going to have to be a forced over fairway driver that's going to have to land just perfectly. Okay, cool for the audience that's watching right then, but brand new disc golfers who don't know anything about disc golf are probably not watching right then. And if the highlight makes it to something like ESPN, it's going to be commentated over. So you're not going to have that already. So I understand the storyline, and that portion of it I can agree with if you're in the know. But if you're not, then you'd never know about it, and it's just a disc golf shot.
Okay, another point that I made was it makes having a set number of discs creates the idea of a set. There is as I understand golf, haven't played in a long time, but last time that I played golf was when they first started to come out with hybrids, which is sort of a hybrid between a wood and an iron.
Right.
So it's an iron with a little bit more mass on the back, so it lets you hit the ball like you would an iron, but it goes farther. And part of the strategy that was involved is, do you want to swap out some of your irons for this, or do you want to swap out some of your woods or something like that?
Sure.
If we had a limit on the amount of discs in the bag, it would create from the gaming world a meta. It would create a standard layout, and that it would make it easier for newer players to decide what they want to do. For example, if you don't need distance drivers, then you could have the fairway driver bag, and you would have all sorts of fairway drivers to cover every shot that you need. Plus, as a manufacturer, that makes it easier for us to market and easier for us to design bags, because we don't have to design bags to carry 35, 40 discs. Not that we do, but we could right now, but we don't have to worry about that. We can create all of our bags to design to hold the tournament standard 21 discs or whatever the number is. Plus, as people start out, the first thing they usually ask is, well, how many discs are in a set? And right now we don't have an answer for that. It's just however many. And that's really confusing. They're like, well, what? I I need drivers that do all this different things. And the idea of having a standardized sort of basic layout that most people follow is going to make that far less confusing for newer players as well.
Okay, so follow-up question to that. If somebody says how many discs are in a set, do we say 21 now?
21? Yeah, I think so.
Okay. But okay.
Bobby
Danny,
doesn't know
you're
what that's
making
from.
these rules. What do you mean you think so?
One of the things that I have difficulty with is I know that people aren't always going to carry the full amount of discs, but if someone asks how many discs are in a set and they say 21, people might think, that's a little too much of an investment for me to buy 21 discs out of the gate. Now, once again, I know that not everybody's going to carry those, and this is more of a tournament disc golf thing, but that might deter some people. Whereas just having the freedom to carry what you want when you want, I think is something that's attractive about disc golf. I don't know.
Sorry, I was looking at Wisconsin names in the chat.
That's all I got.
Okay.
All right. Well, I think we have to agree to disagree on this point.
That's kind of the point of hot takes too. You don't want to have.
Oh,
really a winner.
absolutely. No, for sure. No.
I will never.
I will
agree with
give
this
you
point.
your B plus. I will give you your B plus grade.
He said B
Danny, on
minus.
this
He
one.
said B
Oh, it's a B
minus.
minus.
Get an upgrade. I'm taking it.
Grade you up. I grade you up. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us for this episode of Disc Golf Hot Takes.
The what?
Okay,
We'll see you on the next one.
Real quick, there's
Wait.
Wisconsin names.
I'm
you
trying
done?
to stop the recording.
Well, hurry up.
All right, the recording stopped, but we're still live.
Okay. The Wisconsin names in the chat. Robert, do you care to take a swing? If you guys don't know, my
No,
mom's
I
from
want to take a
Wisconsin.
swing, and then Robert can correct me.
I like this.
Robert can try.
This-
Okay,
Okay,
let's
I'm gonna
see.
go with
This
I'm gonna
is
go
the
with
way to
Joey
go.
Adams. Here we go.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's it.
This is the one
Sheboygan.
that starts with Wisconsin fan here,
Yeah,
correct?
just
Right.
go one at a
Sheboygan.
time, Bobby.
Yeah, Sheboygan is
That's
correct.
right. Yep.
Manaqua.
It's
That's
close. Yeah.
That's not far off, I don't think.
Mm-mm.
I don't think it's Minnequa, but it's
I think Minocqua's right,
yeah.
but it's
Wawega.
There's no way
Honestly,
that's correct.
I have no idea.
Hand me
I
that
think I would.
wagwa.
Okay, the second thing that you said, I think, is something closer to what I would have said.
How would you say it?
Oh man, that's a tough one.
Yeah, see?
Wait.
I don't know this one.
I would have said something along the lines of Wiawaga or something like that.
That's something Wawega.
I
Okay,
think
next
it's
one.
Wawega.
Are these real ones? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all real cities.
This one's almost like it just adds a na at the end when you go kaka. Kakana.
Kakana
Kakana,
forever.
Wisconsin. I would just say Kakana.
I would
Would you
hope that those AUs mean more than just A's. So like Calcauna or something like that. I don't think that's right
Calcauna.
either, but I would hope that it would be worth, like, if you're going to add an extra vowel, it ought to sound different than just an A sound.
Well, you never know. The next one reminds me of just Muskogee from Oklahoma. Muskego.
That looks like Muskego.
Muskego. You know,
but
why would
yeah.
the E have an A sound? E's have A sounds sometimes.
What?
Not all of the time.
They literally never have A sounds.
Oh, son. Here we go.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Come on.
Wanaki.
Yeah, that's close to what I would have said.
I'm pretty sure. Okay,
Well,
I
but
don't know.
I didn't give the U a sound. Waiunaki.
It'd be Wanaki. It's like there's the
the
smallest little
Mhm.
diphthong in there. I think.
I don't know all of these, but I'm pretty sure it's Sheboygan, Minocqua, Waiuiga, Kakana, and then Muskogee maybe, and then
Muskogee?
Wanakee. I'm pretty sure the emphasis is on the
Wanakee.
first syllable. on
Yeah,
the
that
last
sounds
one.
right.
But
All right, we
there
got a
are
couple
some
minutes.
strange names in
Now just for funsies for the YouTube people, I want to know Anthony's hot take.
Nice. Yeah, I'm interested.
Let's argue.
The
I wanna
non-disc
argue.
golf one.
Do you want me to actually do? Like, are we recording it?
No, we're just gonna do it for funsies
Let's
on
just get
YouTube
wild.
live.
Oh, okay. So
I mean, it's being recorded for life. Yes, on
Sure.
YouTube. So
It'll live on the internet forever.
Yes.
yeah, I didn't know if you were just gonna do the intro.
Oh
So
no.
basically, the way that everyone keeps track of dates is wrong.
Okay.
Right? What do we do? Month, day, year?
Right.
Stupid. We need to standardize it year, month, date. For organizational purposes, it's the easiest way to go about it. You know what year it is, you know what month, you know what day. Saying the
Well,
month and then jumping back to the day and then going to the year makes absolutely no sense. It's complete and utter chaos. Year, month, date.
So you
And
want year, month, date, but right now we do month, date, year,
So,
right?
So
Yes.
today would be 2020, 5/26, not 5/26, 2020.
But your
I
logic makes
hate
no sense.
this
I
more
know the
than
way it
any
is.
hot
You're
take
you're saying that my
Okay.
logic makes no sense.
I've
Yours makes no
ever
sense.
heard.
Okay, here's the idea
No,
too.
no, no.
All
I
right.
said it first.
No.
Also, this works well because it's American and European. Because a lot of the American way to do it is today would be May 26th, 2020. The European way to do it would be the 26th of May, 2020. And
Right.
theirs, I personally think makes more sense. I don't use it naturally, but I think it makes more sense because it's day, month, year. It gets bigger as you go, right? So
Correct.
the way to find the happy medium would be to flip that whole thing over and go from biggest to smallest. So you get the most context at the beginning. Now, what even year are we talking about? We're talking about 2020. And then what month is May, and then the specific day. It gets
Okay,
more
but then how do
specific
you
as go
shorten
down.
it? Because a lot of times, like they'll say, like
Same way
you
we
write
do
it
now.
down, you would say, "What's your birthday?" Instead of saying 1/8/72, I'd just say 1/8. How would I do that? I mean,
7281.
but what if I just want to put 2?
81.
Yeah, the same way you do it.
No, but that would
If
be
you cut
August
the year off
1st.
now, you could cut the year off the same thing.
But
Like
then
for
people
me,
would think
my
I meant
birthday is
August 1st.
5/3.
See, okay, I'm going to come in and be the voice of reason here. There's a lot of riffraff happening right now.
I would just
I'm-
like to point out, for the first time ever, the chat is in agreement with the rest of the chat, and they're all in agreement with me.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
So-
Yeah.
It's because they haven't heard my airtight logic yet.
Okay,
Oh,
I'm ready.
Okay. I actually do think this is a good idea, but the reason that I don't mind putting the year last is because it's putting the year last or putting the year first makes sense more in future years than it does right now. Okay. So if we say, if today I was like, "Hey Shay, what date is it?" And she said to me 2020 May 26th, I'd be like, "Of course it's friggin' 2020. I
Well, yeah,
know
you would never
because
say
we've been
that.
here for nearly 6 months or 5
How
months
often
or
when you
whatever it
ask-
is."
When you ask Shay the date right now, does she say, "Oh, it's May 26th, 2020"?
No, but
Yeah, exactly.
but you don't have to because we're already to the heart of it. So even if she wanted to, I'd be like, that's not worthwhile. So I think if you put the year first, you're giving unnecessary context to something that already has context. Okay.
Sure.
So now down the road and for databases and for all that stuff, sure. Year, month, day, I'm in 100%. But for right now, I hate putting the year first because obviously we know it's 2020.
So
you
basically,
don't
what you're
have to
saying,
say the year.
yeah, what you're saying is, well, we've always been wrong, so let's just keep being wrong.
No.
This would be
no.
great. This would be great in the future, but for today, we're gonna just keep doing it the wrong way. That
No.
makes no sense.
No. I'm saying if I sign a document right now, I'm not putting the year first because everybody knows what year. Like if you have to sign and date something, everyone knows what year it's in. We're all
Okay.
in the same year. But
So-
now what I'm saying is for the future, like this makes less sense now and more sense as you're looking back on it.
You don't have to put down the year.
Yeah.
You can
I'm never
still
putting
shorten
down
it.
the year forever.
Fine. Fine.
Good.
Okay, I'll hold my breath so you do.
No, yeah. I'm never putting it down. So there.
No, you don't have to. You can still write it just like you do now. It's just when you write the year, rather than putting it afterwards, put it at the beginning.
Correct.
I'm never
And
doing
that also follows the way we do time, like chat pointed out. It's year, month, day, hour, minute is the way we do time. And so if we did minute, hour, right, it follows the same decreasing order. Don't worry about it. Hour, minute.
Yeah, okay.
I
think that's
wasn't
stupid,
worried.
but I'm just kidding. I honestly do think it's a good idea, but I would be pissed if I had to write the year first every single time.
For sure. Yeah, it would be there would be
Yeah,
a
why
learning
would I want
curve
to do that?
You don't
Yeah.
have to.
Why would we want to do that?
We're not.
When it's the same
because it
for,
makes sense.
for
Yeah, but why?
5 days, the same thing.
Did you say when every day is the same thing? Quarantine getting to you, Bobby?
David Morton
It's Groundhog
says,
Day.
David Morton says, I actually use that all the time, even shorter, 20, 25, 26, but like no dashes or no
Yeah.
Yeah,
slashes.
no,
just,
we're still
It's
putting.
also
we're still
0,
putting-
5, 26. That's
Yeah.
what makes it legible.
yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Also,
Well, first of all, that's stupid. So,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
also, I randomly said 2020 or 21 earlier because it's a Vine thing. So that's why Bobby didn't get it.
Oh, yeah. that's
Gotcha.
fair.
But chat got it, so we're on board.
Yeah, it's
What do you
fine.
mean I didn't get it?
It's
mean,
a
why
vine
that
where a guy
vine
goes,
didn't-
"What's 9 plus 10?" And a little kid looks around and says, 21.
Yeah.
That's
I
it.
watched Vine. I used to do Vines.
Look,
I
guys,
did Vines.
all I'm saying is if we run
I
into a
just
hot
didn't
take,
happen to see that stupid Vine.
No, along with
if we
none
run
of the
into a
others.
hot take that you don't have a good response for, saying that that's stupid is always a good response.
That's
That's
yeah,
the
that's a
response.
go-to.
Nice.
There's no good comeback. You come back with logic, I say no, that's stupid,
That's
and then
stupid, man.
you're done. Sorry.
Wow,
Hey,
what you thought was logic is actually
about-
stupid now.
See,
I
I'm
guess.
I'm with Darby here. He said, Anthony, when did you first realize you're a communist? I mean,
Oh,
hey,
5
that's a
minutes
real
ago.
question. For the chat that agrees with you, I'm on board with Darby here.
That's
Okay.
all of us. Join
I had
us,
a
Darby and
coworker that would
Robert.
come back something similar. He would you would say something, and if you disagree, he'd say, "Well, you're dumb then."
Oh,
And you'd be
okay.
like, oh,
What? But you're dumb then.
"No,
No,
no,
no, I already said you're
You're
dumb.
dumb.
That means you have to assume that I'm smarter
right."
because
yeah.
that's the
'Cause
only way I would know that you're
I've
dumb.
already rated you in the dumb level,
Yeah.
so there's no coming back from it.
I
You
can do
can't
that
climb
because
out
of my
the dumb hole.
superiority.
Speaking of
All right.
dumb, I realized at about 3:30 that today was actually Tuesday and not Wednesday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is a
Yeah.
weird week. Also, I forgot to put out our trash cans today. Huge rip to me.
Rip.
Our recycling has been
goodness.
full for forever,
Great.
and now we're in 2 more weeks of winter.
What is the garbage look like? Because I got to take the garbage.
It's also pretty full.
All right.
You hate to see it.
You hate to see it. Well, you're dumb then. So
Just
That's fair.
You
have-
you're stupid.
You have the superiority edge over me right now.
yes,
That's how you can make that assessment.
correct.
The
Until
can's
I
so full, you-
mispronounce a word and you correct me, then
That's
then
right.
The dynamic
no, that's
shift.
stupid.
Right.
But see,
yeah.
in my communism world, everyone could use everyone's garbage cans.
Right.
Mhm.
And
That's
no
right,
one
there
would have an
are garbage
overflowing
cans.
wait,
can.
wait. We're getting political
Good
here. We're
idea.
getting too political.
Hey, go over to Anthony's and just put your trash in his trash can, Bob.
There you go.
Use
yeah.
my neighbors because they moved out, please.
Oh, they did.
Hey,
Okay.
that's actually a fantastic idea if we're talking about realistic ideas.
All right. We're done.
Yeah, we're done.
See you guys.
Hey,
Okay,
dumb
bye.
idea.
Yeah.
Dang
You're
it.
dumb.